Hello, and welcome to Life in Focus with me, your host, Stephen Akinsanya. Life in Focus is a platform where we have real conversations about raising the next generation and tackling those issues that affect our young people. Today, we're going to be looking at a really interesting and what I would consider to be a hot topic: leadership versus influencers for young boys. We all know that we live in a world where that term influencer is bandied around. Millions of followers, flashy lifestyles. Sometimes it connotes watches, cars, girls, trending videos. But is that really the same thing as leadership? For many young boys growing up today, the role models they see most often are on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. But who's teaching these young boys resilience, discipline, integrity, and how to stand tall when life gets tough? And believe me, it gets tough. In a world where we hear of a certain young man who resides in Romania with his brother being an influencer of many young men at critical times in their life, shaping their influence and thoughts on politics, relationships, women, how they see themselves in the world or how they should see the world. This is a really important topic. So whether you're a parent, a mentor or teacher, or just someone who cares about the future of our young men, I think this episode is going to be very, very interesting. And joining me on this week's episode of Life in Focus, I have a pioneer and two future leaders. Ademola Adeyaba is the CEO of 1,000 Black Boys. He's a mindset transformation and leadership coach. He's the founder of 1,000 Black Boys. He's appeared on BBC Radio London, Sky One, The New Statesman, The Voice, and has been featured in Forbes and other publications. He's got over 2 decades of business experience, mostly in the corporate sector of events industry, and he's a highly trained leadership coach. Ademola loves vision, and his personal vision is to see people living inspiring and purposeful lives. This is the inspiration for 1,000 Black Boys and his other organization, Get Hench. Ademola, welcome back to Life in Focus. It's a pleasure to have you back on the platform, sir.
Always a pleasure, Stephen. Thank you for having us back. Very much appreciated. You do incredible work as well. Those who've watched the first interview we had in, I think, 2023 would remember how we connected. So thank you very much for having us.
Pleasure.
And have the boys with us today as well.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this one because I think I've got my youngest guests ever on the show.
Yay!
We've got something in common because, like them, I'm also a twin. It's a pleasure to welcome Theo and Cameron Duncan, both aged 11. I'll tell you a little bit about them. Mum's in the background joining them. Theo's a highly motivated and ambitious 11-year-old. He relishes maths and its challenges. He's an avid football enthusiast, with sports being another passion of his. He has a wide range of interests such as boys choir, kayaking, chess, table tennis, debating, gardening and cooking, which are 2 of my favorites pastimes. And he's also involved in his youth church. In addition to that, he has taken up many roles of leadership, such as being a rights ambassador, school counselor, eco-counselor, and as well as continuing to develop his leadership skills with supplementary education. He also tried on my wig recently at an event and tells me that he would like to become a barrister. Cameron, his brother, is highly creative. He loves and leans towards creative endeavors that sparks the imagination. He has a keen eye for drawing cartoons and beloved childhood characters, as well as having sketched his own comic book. You'll often find him building a new world with his Lego, or getting lost in captivating fantasy books series such as Percy Jackson. And his interests also include the choir, kayaking, basketball, table tennis, debating, Lego, and of course he's involved in youth church. It's a pleasure to welcome you boys onto my platform. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us,
It's an
Ademola,
absolute
Stephen.
pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. And welcome, Mum, in the background.
Thank you.
So, look, in this broadcast, I want to ask some serious questions. What makes a true leader? Are influencers helping or hurting? And how can we guide young people to follow leaders who build them up instead of just entertainers who get likes? Those are the sort of things that I want to look at. But before I get into some of the questions, Ademola, can I just start with you and 1,000 Black Boys? I want to just understand your inspiration for doing this, and also talk about the program that the boys have been on and what it represents, if you would, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Inspiration for this, there's many places where I can land this, but if I start with our mission, so our mission is we exist to inspire Black boys and young Black men to unleash their potential and to live a life of purpose. And we tell everyone, Stephen, that as that happens, every single person benefits. Nobody loses. Like tonight, for example, we're going to have Theo and Cameron with us sharing about their journey. And that is already an inspiration to lots of different people, their generation, older generation, maybe even younger generation. So that's why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where I just got sick and tired of seeing the faces of young Black boys on the front page of the Evening Standard. And I know that a lot of your guests, and even now when I came on, we spoke about, the challenges that we see and the things that we're not happy about. So for me, it just got to a place where I just said enough. And I just thought it was time to make a difference. And for me, I'm a person of faith. I just thought, do you know what? This is what needs to be done. Each young person has incredible potential. They have incredible creativity. And when that's realized, every single person wins. In terms of the program that the boys have just done, I'll even also say the boys and mum have just done, because our programs are for everyone that's in the family, everyone that supports the boys and young men, they can also be on the programs. Mentorship is a key part of our work. And our mentorship is, I'd say, is very different. It's focused on mindset development.
Mm-hmm.
I deliver the programs. So our goal is to build that out so other people can deliver our programs. But even those that deliver the programs have to work on themselves. So it's not just we're doing mentorship because you've got some life experience, which is great. But we have life experience and the ability to master our triggers and our own stuff, so that doesn't get passed on to the boys and the young men. So we have a key focus on mindset. The program that Theo and Cameron have just done, we call it the mindset of an entrepreneur. And it was really about giving them practical tools to help them master how they think, deal with procrastination, deal with the fear of failure, deal with, we call it the self-sabotage mechanism, deal with imposter syndrome and things that will hold them back, and just allow them to be themselves. Like, you got a glimpse of it at our award ceremony when Theo came over and he said, yeah, I want to meet the lawyer. So that's a glimpse of our programs, and we love doing them. I could say more about it, but we love doing them. And I think the boys would be a powerful demonstration of what our work looks like.
Wonderful. Well, let me ask the boys. Let's just start off with asking you about that program, Cameron. Let's start with you. Tell me what you liked about the program.
What I liked about the program is that some people, like for myself, wasn't really focusing on being a leader but a follower. But ever since I've completed the course, I've focused on more like leading, not being a bystander, following, taking control of what can happen in the future.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what about you, Theo?
I found this program very inspiring because I've had some difficulties throughout my 11 years of life, and yeah, I've just like stepped up to the next level of being a leader, taking more responsibility for myself and my actions, and I just felt like I've been a better person ever since I've started this program.
Wonderful. Now, interestingly, we're talking about influencers versus leaders for young boys, and Cameron mentioned something at the start there where he talked about wanting to be a leader rather than a follower, and you've talked about wanting to be a leader. What's the first thing, guys, that comes to your mind when you hear the word leader? What comes into your mind?
A
Yeah.
person that you can trust. They're respectful to you no matter what you think. They they have an open mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and they're loyal. So when they find stuff that's really hard for them, they don't just leave you for you to do it by yourself. But a leader's someone for me that I know that's always gonna be there for me no matter how many times I fall.
That's a good answer. And Cameron, you're growing up in a world where we hear this word influencer. What does that mean to you? What do you think when you hear the word influencer as opposed to a leader? Is there a difference?
An influencer's nothing like a leader. They collect people and manipulate them into thinking what they want is right instead of what other people want. And then it kind of makes that illusion that you're doing the right thing, but at the same time you don't know what you're doing because you've been tricked into saying yes to a person's idea when you don't truly agree with them.
Wow, that's kind of deep for an 11-year-old, but
I know, right?
That's a really powerful answer. All right, let me just bring in Mama and Ademola as the adults in the room. We live in a world where the youngsters there's so much being thrown at them through phones, the internet, online, and this thing about leadership and influencers. To you as the adult, how do you define a true leader in today's world, very much with the children in mind, young boys in mind? What do you consider to be a true leader? What are those qualities? Let's start with you. Mum, should we go with you first, then I'll come to Ademola.
What I define as a true leader is someone that's active and present within the community, somebody that is respectful and that has integrity as well. Our leaders should be people that our children can interact with, rather than just placed on a screen very, very far away. That's what I consider to be a true leader.
Ademola, sorry. When you think of this term, obviously in the programs that you teach, what are you teaching these young boys about leadership as opposed to the world they're growing up surrounded by influencers who are vying for attention? And as I say, trying to tell young boys about what life is like as a young man and how they should respond to certain situations.
What we really important question. I mean, I love what Lydia said as well. Like really being active, that's a key part of leadership. I'd say specifically with the program, we work on the inside out. So what do I mean by this? The first thing that we deal with, we call it the power of perception. So in our first session, we start to separate the perception that the boys and young men might have about themselves or even the world and people in the world. We separate that from what we would say is like reality. So for example, Stephen, we asked the boys and young men to let us have the stereotypes that people would have or some people would have about black boys, young black men. Doesn't matter their age, they come out with it. I'm a rude boy, gangster, I don't like maps, don't like English, I get angry really, really quickly, I've got to be a rude boy. So we asked them to put all of that to one side,
Mm-hmm.
and then we asked them to think about the fact that there are people that look like them that are very successful in different fields in the world, in different areas, in different industries. So here are these two examples. So these are the stereotypes, and these are people that look like you that are doing brilliant things. And then we start to explore the fact that this is not automatic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not automatic to be a rude boy and a gangster. It's not automatic to go down the stereotype route, because there's people that don't do that. So what does that mean for you? Well, actually, it means that I can also be that. It means that I can also make my goals of becoming a barrister, a lawyer, a reality, of being an entrepreneur that's a multimillionaire and has lots of different businesses that's impacting the world. I can make that a reality. I can be an incredible chef. I can be an incredible actor. So we start to break that down. So for us, that's a key step in leadership. And what we say as well in our programs is that we're not teachers. We're not knocking teachers, but for us, this is not a classroom. So we are developing leaders. So for us, our mindset mentorship programs, our leadership development programs, and we're giving the boys and young men tools of leadership, tools where they can self-reflect, self-analyze, get past the things that will block them and make really powerful choices in life. So that's how I'd explain it. So that's what happens on our programs. And then it allows the boys and young men to grow and develop. It allows them to see that, do you know what? I've always had this idea of building a tech company. Actually, I can make that a reality. Those moments are absolutely incredible. So that's just a sense of what we do on our programs and a sense of what we say leadership is. But just to answer your question as well, I was thinking about this. I'd say in terms of leadership, leaders provide direction. They're purposeful in terms of the talent and gift that that person carries or people carry to make that rule. So they're purposeful, and they provide, I'm going to say, a context. The context is your success is not just, as you mentioned, buying cars, having the girls. It's more than that. There's a context. There's the difference that you can make in the world. It's great having cars, not knocking cars. It's great to have one, but there's a context to it. There's a reason behind it. So those are some of the things that I'd say. And actually, also leaders are really powerful at being vulnerable. They don't try to get it all right. They make mistakes, and they can say, "Do you know what? I'm sorry about that. I got that wrong." That's leadership.
Absolutely. To err is human. Guys, I mean, look, when we're talking about leadership, we're talking about influencers. Let me ask you this. Let's start with Theo this time. Do you think it's possible for someone to be both, so both a leader and an influencer? Do you think that's possible, or is there a clear separation?
Well, it really depends who the person is. For example, if I was to use myself, if I was a leader and an influencer, I'd probably like break because all the lying I had to do, and and just lying for like all the views and the content so I can make money and stuff like that. But a leader's the complete opposite. I'm respectful. I'm loyal. So me personally, if I was influencer and the leader, I'd probably break like in a couple of months or so, because it's hard for me. Like I'm not good at lying. Yeah.
Okay. And Cameron, what do you think? Do you think you can be both a leader and an influencer, or is it they completely separate?
To be honest, like what Fia said, it depends on the person. An influencer doesn't have to lie to get views, but they can like influence people to do the right thing and lead them to a good cause at the same time. So I think it's possible.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, because I said at the top of the show that both of you sort of enjoyed leadership roles. I think it was more Theo, as I described, you had roles at school. Why, for example, Theo, did you become a school ambassador in your school? What was the motivation for being an ambassador or school counselor, I should say?
Well, I I just like changing. Well, I just love like improving people's lives, I could say, because in my school it wasn't how can I say it? It wasn't as fun as it used to be. But now it's really fun because I helped get a new playground for they literally refurbished the playground in our school. So and I also just love like helping out and yeah, just being there. And yeah, I just like that. It's
Okay.
just my nature.
Okay.
That's
That's
leadership.
That's leadership right there. It's wonderful. Just to answer one of the viewers' questions, yes, they are twins. They are twins. They're
Yeah,
not identical twins, and I'm not an identical twin, but we're all twins,
yeah,
definitely.
all twins.
So look,
May I just add on to
yeah,
that?
Mum, I was going to say, is
What?
there anything that you wanted to say, Mum, on that point?
Yeah, in terms of what Theo said, in terms of his him stepping up and choosing to be a school counsellor and going for that role, he had to be elected by his peers. So it
Absolutely.
wasn't a case of him being guaranteed that role. He had to go through a due process to get elected. And with that came certain responsibilities and commitments in which he had to give up certain lunch times or play times to attend meetings to be a school counsellor. And then as well feeding back to his peers about what are they actually doing, what changes are they making, and also what Theo has experienced as being a school counsellor is delayed gratification, because he was a school counsellor in, was it year 5?
Year 5.
Year 5.
I was I was loads of stuff.
Year 5, and so he was working tirelessly with other counsellors, looking to get the playground refurbished. And now he's come to year 6, and now he's leaving the school, but yet the fruits of his labour are being manifested, because it's this summer holidays that they're actually refurbishing the playground and redoing the playgrounds for the kids. So Theo's left something for other children that he is actually not going to directly benefit from. And sometimes that's the case of, being a leader. What you work towards, you don't benefit from, but other people behind you, like his cousin, who still remains at the school for a couple of years, she will benefit from an amazing, new and interesting playground.
Absolutely. And that stems from having vision, and seeing that vision come to fruition, and not necessarily, as you say, having the benefit of the fruit, but the fruit is available for others to enjoy. And I think, when we talk about Theo, I'll let you come in. Come in, Theo.
I just wanted to say also that when I had 3 councils: eco council, school council, and a rights ambassador. So some of them would overlap. So I had to pick the most important one
Right.
that would benefit everybody. So for example, I had to miss rights ambassador and eco council, so I can do school council sometimes, because that benefit the whole school.
Right. That's it. And that there in itself is a trait of leadership, being able to discern what decision to make that's right, in terms of having to make the right choice at the right time. And I think when we talk about leadership as opposed to influencers, I think leadership requires a level of accountability, because you're accountable for others, whereas you can be an influencer and say what you like and not feel accountable for the fallout from what you say. I think there's a big difference. Let me ask Ademola, let me bring you back in here. Look, with the work that you do, and I want to preface what we're talking about here, we're talking about 1,000 black boys, but for anybody watching thinking, in the world we're in, Ademola, I know we've talked about this before. Oh, he's only doing it for black boys. It's racist. It's exclusive. No one else can join. Just update us on what the actual position is.
I mean, really great question. Can I comment on something just before that question?
Sure, and then I will hold you to come back to that, though.
Absolutely. For those that are watching, here we have two 11-year-olds. Look at how intelligent they've been in answering the questions. Look at how thoughtful they've been in answering those questions. And if mum's okay with it, one of the boys has had some challenges with some teachers at school. Mum, am I okay to go there, or should I come out?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So one of the teachers actually said something to Theo after our last award ceremony that was quite disempowering, but he handled it in such a powerful way. And the reason why I'm saying this is twofold. Is one, it hasn't stopped him, hasn't stopped Theo, hasn't stopped Cameron. And I'm also saying that for parents, maybe other young black boys, young black men that have had things said about them within the school and education system by teachers, that don't let that define you. That does not define you.
Absolutely.
And for some of you who've just recently got your GCSE results, I had some calls last week from parents and young people who got results last Wednesday that were not so happy with the results. Some of you that have done great, well done. For those of you that haven't done great, well done. It's part of the journey. So that doesn't define you. And the reason why I'm saying that is what's happened with Theo at school, how he's dealt with it and responded to it. That's leadership. And that's an example for other young black people within different parts of the education system and within life generally.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really bring that out. Like, look at how, like Cameron said something earlier, and I was just like, that's really smart. I knew he was clever, but that's very, very wise for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's what's available for the world. So when Theo and Cameron and other Theo and Camerons get to fulfill their purpose, everyone wins. Nobody loses. So Theo's left a legacy at his school, and that legacy will benefit everyone, right?
Yeah, in the whole entire school.
Everyone.
I did. I actually
so different backgrounds, different colors.
Yeah, I did the Key Stage 1 playground and the Key Stage 2 playground to the whole school.
So that benefits black folks, white folks, Asians, Chinese, everyone. Everyone wins. Nobody loses. And that really answers the question. So Theo wants to come in. Theo.
And also, I got because one time there wasn't enough teachers, so we got split across to school, and I got put in reception. And one of the kids, we were just talking, me and a reception kid, and he was like, he had this idea of this playground, it's very cool. I was like, me and my colleagues, we had this idea of the playground. He was like, wow, I want to be like you one day. And that inspired me to carry on going on and on and on to make it even better for the school and him.
Wow.
Wonderful. Now, Ademola, I'm not going to let you get away with not answering that other question. So if you could, I just want to settle this because, I've had this raised before and I want to deal with it.
Absolutely. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. It's right there. So when we say that we focus on black boys and young black men, for us, when that's done well, I'm going to just say as we came up with it when we first launched, then the lives of old white men work. Then the lives of young Asian women work. Then the lives of young black girls work. Then the lives of other young black boys work. Then the lives of anybody, regardless of your background, it works. For us, that's our landing point to transform the world. And it's the same thing where somebody might go to McDonald's and say, hey, McDonald's, you just do burgers? Why don't you do peri-peri chicken, for example? McDonald's will say, well, that's our business model. But you are anti-chicken. No, this is just our model. So this is what we do. We focus on burgers. But if you like chicken, peri-peri chicken, go to that place. They're called Nando's. Go and check them out. They will give you some very, very nice peri-peri chicken. Or saying to McDonald's, hey, McDonald's, why don't you sell cars? Cars is really big business. they will just say to you, well, that's just not our business. Not that we don't like cars, we just focus on what we do, which is, in this case, burgers. So I've used that analogy really loosely, but essentially our focus is black boys and young black men to make sure that every single person wins. What often goes unnoticed to people, so if I was to really go, if somebody would let me explore that answer and this question with them, there's something in coaching where what I call is a cover up. So somebody might say A, but they really mean B, but they don't want to say B. So they'll give you A to basically throw you off the track. So what does this look like? Some might say, yeah, but why just black boys? Why not all boys? But actually what they want to say is, I hate the fact that you focus on black boys. I've got something around race that I'm not really happy with, especially where black boys are concerned. My thing would be, well, then let's forget this cover up. Let's deal with your question. Let's deal with the real thing. I don't mind you having those views, but let's have a conversation about it. Let's see if you can have a shift of perspective, if you're open to that. If you can't, not a problem, but at least we're having the real conversation and not something that's wasting all of our times. Because when you really look at what we're doing, we're making sure that the likes of Theo Cameron and other incredible, amazing young black boys who've done our programs thrive. And when they thrive in life, everyone wins. And who is everyone? Well, everyone is actually everyone. So that's how I would answer that question.
Wow. And let me just say this for Theo in relation to issues at school. And, you know, I think one of the best examples that we can have is when others are prepared to share their own stories. And I remember, Theo, and I know that you tried on my wig at the last event. And I remember around your age, when I went to a teacher at a certain school I was at, telling her that I wanted to be a lawyer one day, and she laughed in my face and told me that I would not amount to much. And there was another teacher who was in my corner, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago now. But I remember when I first qualified, I made a point of going back to that same school, and I found that teacher who said I wouldn't amount to much. And I made a point of telling her and letting her know what had happened to me. And so to all of those watching, including Theo, who maybe had an issue at school, don't let anyone tell you that you won't amount to much. Don't let any failure, as people call it, stop you from dreaming big. I want you to hear that message loud and clear on the back of O-levels or GCSEs rather, and A-levels. What happens to you now does not define you for the future. It's a small chapter in a book that's very long, hopefully for all of you. So just keep pressing ahead. Let me ask you this, Mum and Ademola, I want to ask you about role models today for boys. Do boys today have enough positive male role models in real life? And I ask that question because many times I'm told part of the problems we have with youth violence, knife crime, and all the rest of it is that young boys do not have enough positive role models because what they're seeing played out on social media are not role models. What do we say to that? Mum, let's start with you.
It's hard as a parent to find positive role models. From my experience, the boys have their granddad, who has been an absolute pillar in their life, and you know, is the first positive male role model that they have and luckily continue to have. But there's the old adage saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I've got two. I've got twins, so I need a village and then some.
A city to raise a child.
A city.
We're getting a city now.
And so when so then I find that I've had to be proactive in seeking that village or that city rather, especially when it comes to male role models. They've got a lot of females, aunties, family friends that are successful or have done great in their life. We just hung out with one of their great aunts that has, 2 nurseries. She's a business owner, and she took us around her nurseries, and she showed the boys where you can get to with just starting a seed. But at the same time, they do need the male role models. And with primary school being very female heavy in terms of teachers, you don't tend to get a lot of male teachers until you go into secondary school. As I said, you have to be quite proactive about finding those male role models. So when I saw Ademola's course, I just leapt at the chance for Theo and Cameron to join, and they've loved every moment of it. And they've done other courses as well. They've got a Saturday school, a leadership academy. And they've done a course on etiquette. They've done another manhood academy that focusing on young Black boys. So I want that positive influence for them from all different angles, from all different perspectives. And through that, I feel like they will definitely build a sense of self. They can imagine a different future for themselves other than, being a YouTuber or a footballer, or something in which I think for young people, they equate success with fame. And actually you can be very successful and be unknown, and have a very successful life.
Absolutely. Ademola, let me ask you something slightly different then. I think Mum's dealt with that quite fully in that answer. Is there a danger of young boys looking up to influencers instead of true leaders? I mean, we live in that world now, and obviously with the work that you do, I'm sure that a lot of young men who you first encounter, their mindset is already in that realm of influencers and seeing them as true leaders. Is there a danger of young boys looking up to influencers as opposed to true leaders and not understanding what a real role model is?
Yes is the answer. So yes, there is a danger of that, and we're seeing that in society generally. If we speak on a broader perspective, it's how that whole generation is being conditioned to think. Being conditioned to think about, if I go viral, as Mum just said, if I go viral, then I'm going to be famous, then I've made it. Even to the extent, like I talk about this on some of our sessions, I talk about how you want something really quick, you want quick food, pop it in the microwave, you want to be famous, try to get viral on YouTube. And young people are constantly chasing that because that's how they've been conditioned, and their brains are being essentially developed to think that that's success and that's what that looks like. And not actually building the fundamentals and building the character aspect, and realizing that sometimes you have to put the work in. One of the people that I quote to young people, who many of them know, is Lionel Messi. And he said something like it took him 17 years to become an overnight success. Which is like, really? Yes. So putting that work in. Putting that work in is necessary. And if young people are not trained or not given those options, they'll believe the other option.
Wow.
And actually, to your original question, do we have enough role models? I think we do have enough role models, but they're not visible.
Yeah,
There's so many brilliant organizations, incredible organizations that do fantastic work. So they're here, do brilliant work. So their marketing is not strong, and the people that need them don't know how to find them. One of our goals is to solve that. But there's lots of incredible role models, but they're just not visible enough.
Yeah. Well, I can mention at this point as well. I mean, an organisation like Urban Synergy, who I've been involved with for many, many years. Layla Thomas, they do some amazing work with bringing role models into schools. Look, Lorraine raises an issue here, and I think I want to touch on this because it's again something which has been controversial in the past when I've raised it. She says, "Look, I've raised a son as a single mum, but I can tell you, every son needs a father figure. Good that they have mentors and granddad to mirror from." You know, I want to understand. Let me ask the boys firstly this question about granddad. Why is he so important to you as a role model?
The reason why he's been so important to me as a role model is because he's been with me since birth, so I've kind of gotten used to him training me for the outside world, and him telling me advice that I need to carry on a legacy that of greatness, and so that's why he's kind of mirrored the father image, because I see him regularly and I give him phone calls often, and it's kind of helped me to develop who I am today.
Wonderful. Theo, what about you?
Well, granddad for me, he's a person I could trust. I would name he is a leader. He's certainly a leader, not an influencer. And he'll be he's there till dusk till dawn. He'll be there when I have problems with the teachers. He'll always show up, and he'll be there. And yeah, that's granddad.
Wow.
Amazing granddad. Granddad.
He's a really
I'm supposed to be professional here, and you're making me almost well up listening to him. But look, Mum, let me ask you, you know, this is a mother who's made this comment. And I've said for a long time in the shows that I've done, in the work that I do, that there comes a point in every young man's life, every boy's life, when they need not necessarily the biological father, but a father figure to teach them things that a mum cannot teach them. Am I stepping out of line by saying that in the world where we have to sometimes tread on eggshells about what we say? Am I right?
I certainly believe you are right, especially as they go into those pre-teens, teenage years, and young adulthood. I personally grew up in a house full of girls, don't have any, brothers. The cousins that I do have were, on the other side of London. And also I myself am a single parent. And in regards to the question that Lorraine raised, it's not having these mentors instead of a father figure. It's ideally having these mentors and the father present. But the reality of life is that's not how all families look like. Marriages break down. Some people just simply don't want to be present. Sadly, sometimes fathers pass away. So again, it's about going back to that idea. I don't have the belief that raising children solely falls on the mother and father's shoulders. It's going back to that it's taken a village to raise a child. Your uncles, even our neighbours, Theo's been a keen gardener over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
I know nothing about gardening.
I've got lots of chilies,
coriander, mustard leaves,
salad.
spinach. But it was our neighbour, Al, 2 doors down, who is, you know, white and English, and his son, Matthew, that have been giving Theo tips and tricks. And, you know, this is when you plant the seeds and this is when you harvest. So your village looks different for everyone. You know, sometimes it's your neighbour, sometimes it's family friends, sometimes it's aunties and uncles, sometimes it's teachers, and that changes throughout life. So if you're very fortunate to have a father in your life and a father figure that's positive, that's amazing. But I would still say you need your village on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ademola, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, very, very well said. Very, very well said. My grandpa came along to our award ceremony. We love grandpa. He does amazing work. What I would add to that is for people to think about it. I think about it as a boardroom. So imagine that every young person has a boardroom. And that boardroom, ideally, is mum and dad. And then there's the support structure around them. And us at 1000 Black Boys, we have the privilege to also be on that boardroom as coaches and as development leaders. So I think if every parent can think of it in that way, actually, so let's say, for example, my son is the CEO. He's going to have a life. And if all goes well, he's going to live well beyond me. So how can I set him up to be an incredibly effective decision maker and a successful entrepreneur in life and a successful navigator of life? In order for that to happen, there needs to be different people on that boardroom that advise, that counsel, and develop that leader.
Yes.
I have to add that
Yeah.
turn up as well for the award ceremony.
Yes, Auntie as
She's
well.
probably watching live now.
Auntie was there for what?
Tell me off.
Okay, so Auntie was there as well.
Auntie was there. Auntie Winsome. Winsome, right?
Yes, Auntie Winsome.
Auntie Winsome, I would also label a leader too because she does what's the challenge? Look Like Me, the Look Like Me challenge.
Book challenge.
Yeah, the book challenge that inspires like Black people because not many Black people have. If you think about it, in books, the narrators or the characters, the main characters are normally white people. They're not Black people or colored people. So my auntie Winsome has actually made like a book about them and made stories and inspired people to write their own stories. And yeah, she's really inspiring. So I would label her leader too, along with Grandma.
Wow. Oh, wow. So look, if we accept that we are in the world of influencers, let me ask all of you this question. Is it possible then for an influencer to perhaps step up and become a real leader? And if that is possible, what do you think that would look like? Who wants to have a go at that question? Okay, Cameron.
So if you're an influencer, for example, like you lie to your fans, you're going to have to admit your wrongdoing for you to become a leader, and you're going to have to tell people the truth, and you're gonna have to guide them to the right path. Otherwise, you're gonna end up not coming back from what happened in the past.
Look at that answer. I'm just like, what? He's 11 years old. Come on. So on our programs, we clap, we acknowledge people. Well done. That was amazing. Come on.
Wow.
Sorry, please continue, Stephen.
No, that's fine. Look, I mean,
amazing.
This is the alternative face that I want people to see, not just the stuff that grabs the headlines. There are young people with clear ability, doing amazing things in the communities up and down this country. And we have to get behind these youngsters because they are the future for tomorrow. They're going to be the pioneers, the leaders, the entrepreneurs, the wealth creators, the leaders. So we need to change the narrative. And so when we hear a young 11-year-old boy answer a question like that, you just think the future is indeed bright. Let me ask my budding lawyer, my learned friend, this question. What's one practical thing that a boy can do today to become a leader, not just a follower? Theo, what do you think?
What kind of person to become a leader?
Yeah, not just a follower. What's one thing that you think they can do? Practical thing.
First of all, I start off with small things, like building up your trust, being known as a respectful young person, and being loyal. So, like for example, if you have like not cheating with your girlfriend or something like that. And then as you progress through life, you will go through obstacles, but I would say the most important thing to become a leader is to first you need to get right with yourself and be honest with yourself, because no point lying to yourself, because actually you yourself knows that you're lying. So first come straight with yourself, and then come straight with other people. And yeah, just
That
be
is it.
yourself.
Yeah.
And also practice your leadership skills throughout your day. And yeah, just be yourself.
Wow. I mean, these boys are 11 years old. It's a testament to the work that mum and her family have done with these young men. And also, Ademola, you on this program, if anyone needed any example of what programs like this can do to start helping shape young men's thoughts, independent thoughts, direction, focus, commitment, resilience, discipline, integrity, how to stand tall when life gets tough. Well, here you are, you're seeing it in motion. Great answer.
Life into focus, doesn't it?
Great answer. And this is why the show is called Life in Focus.
Exactly.
Let me ask Mum, do you think young boys today, and I'm not talking about your two wonderful boys, but do you think that young boys today do confuse social media fame with leadership?
Yes. And I feel like it's very easy to do so. It's a balancing act in terms of how much you want your children to interact with social media. I probably err on the side of being what some people would consider quite strict. So we have...
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, in today's age, we have, no TV, no tablets Monday to Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they can have up to 1 hour after they've done their work. So the amount of social, that's laxed a bit in terms of the summer holidays, to be transparent.
Yeah, that's fine.
But, I think it's very, it's key how much we expose our children to what's online, expose them to what's online, the content that they're viewing as well.
Yeah.
I know online there's a lot of, maybe like prank videos, which initially might seem funny, but to get the views, people do more and more extreme pranks that sometimes breaks the law or, is very disrespectful in other countries. So I hope with Theo and Cameron, what I'm trying to do with them is for them to see, what they see online is a persona. Even when you're trying to be as authentic as possible, it's some sort of persona, and their leaders are in and amongst them, Ademola, yourself, their granddad, their aunties. I would like them to recognize as those as their leader. But unfortunately, not every child has that network. Not every child has that network. And so finding the correct leadership may come later in life for them.
Wow. Whoa. Well, I told you the show's going quick. I told you it would go quick, and we're almost at the top of the hour. But I just want to finish off with a couple of things. Ademola, this for you quickly. Do you think influencers are shaping values for other young people, or is it just a trend that we'll see come and go?
Yes, they're shaping values. Unless it's interrupted, it will continue. It's not going to be a trend.
Right.
It could just be how a whole generation views life and the world and existence, and it's not reality. So they'll get a shock at some point down the line. So it is influencing a whole generation. It can be interrupted. It can be transformed. I'd say talking to Theo and Cameron tonight is proof, and the amazing work that Lydia's done with her children. So that's how I would answer that question. It's more than a trend, but it can be interrupted.
Wonderful. Now I want to finish off with the boys, the stars of the show. Let me ask you this, guys. If you could speak directly to another 11-year-old who's at the moment scrolling through Instagram or TikTok right now, what would you tell him about leadership versus influence? Yeah, go on, Theo.
I would tell him that, first of all, you shouldn't be scrolling through Instagram. It's inappropriate for you and it's too old for you. And second of all, I would tell him that not everything you hear is true, so take it with a pinch of salt. And the last thing I would say to them is that that influencers just want likes and views, and well, this is not all of them, but like some of them are just trying to get just trying to get your intention, but others are genuine. But sometimes you don't know the difference between genuine and not genuine, and leaders and influencers are different.
Wow. Cameron, let me ask you this finally. I want you to finish this sentence. A leader is someone who
is full of integrity, owns up to their mistakes, and leads the group of people to the right path, meaning they will make changes that will affect them on the way, but they'll keep on going. Non-stop until the end, until you get your outcome that you expected and wanted. Or if you try harder, you can get an even greater outcome.
Wow. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing show. What amazing young men. A credit to Mum for two wonderful young boys, Theo and Cameron Duncan. And a credit to Ademola Adeyaba and 1,000 Black Boys for the work that they do tirelessly, needing more resources, people. It takes the city to raise the child, and that means investment financially, time. I'm often asked, what can I do? Well, we can all do something. Go onto their website and see what the work is being done by Ademola and his organization. Support them because it's important. We all win. When we do the hard yards, we all win. So, I want to thank my guests, my very special guests,
Thank you for having us.
fellow twins. It's a pleasure. Theo and Cameron Duncan and Mum, thank you very much for joining me on Life in Focus. I want to thank Ademola Adeyeba from 1000 Black Boys. Theo, as we say in the trade, I'll see you in court. Keep aspiring to be that lawyer. I know you're going to get there. But I just want to close out with this, that, when we talk about leadership, we talk about influence. We're living in a very, very difficult time for young people where so many things are vying for their attention, sometimes the wrong things, filling their minds with all sorts of junk. We want leaders. This country needs leaders. It doesn't need part-time influencers who have their own agenda. We need leaders who are going to be captains of industry, pioneers, wealth creators, people with resilience, people with discipline and integrity, who are prepared to stand tall when life gets tough. And then maybe we will all have a chance and we will all win. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep trying. Let's keep inspiring. Life in Focus is a production which aims to educate, inform, and inspire. My name is Stephen Akinsanya, barrister at law, 15 New Bridge Street. Let's keep pushing, everybody. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to my guests.
Thank you for having us.